I guess, well, Mark, could you walk us through what I imagine was a roller coaster of emotions like that? You're down 2-1, you come back, you get the penalty, and then very almost snatched at the ends when you hit the crossbar. What are you feeling after that?
Yeah, look, not a lot. I think overall it's probably, we had a 5-minute period of madness in the first half that ultimately cost us the 3 points. But look, overall, again, I thought, we were very, very good for large parts of the game. We stuck to who we are. We created some really good chances. I thought we had an opportunity at 1-0 to really make it difficult for them with a second goal. Unfortunately, Lockie just sort of strayed offside. But look, like I said, I think, a few times they hurt us sort of on the counter-attack, which we knew they'd look for. They're quite direct and they've got some pace up front. But look, other than that, I thought, a little bit sloppy in the first half, tidied that up in the second half. And then, look, I'd be interested to see the last time a Victory team at home went to a back five trying not to lose.
Because I guess, how do you feel, like, were you anticipating the back five, and how do you feel you defended it? Because it was notable, their fullbacks, the assists for both goals.
Yeah, one comes from a set piece for them as well. The second phase, third phase from a set piece. Obviously, when the team sheets came out, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to come to AAMI Park and play against a back five, to be totally honest with you. But then, obviously, when the team sheet came out, we thought it was a possibility, just with the personnel that they had starting. So, and look, that's something, and I spoke about it during the week, that we try to prepare for, but these players need to get a feel for this and an understanding, because, as I said, it's happened a couple of times now. It's happened the last 3 games. So we can talk about it all we want, and we can tell them about what we think they can do or how they should go about it. But until they experience this and learn for themselves, and again, this is part of who we are as a team, when they start feeling it and making decisions live out there for themselves, that's when we start to see real growth in this team.
But I guess, importantly, Premier's Plate destiny still in your own hands, and now chance to win it at home next week against the Mariners. You've got to be pleased with you boys for digging in and keeping that in play.
Absolutely. And look, we complain about everything, about the scheduling, about what days we're playing, but in all honesty, it couldn't have been written any better for these lads. So obviously we're a very, very different team to what we were round one when we played Mariners at their ground. And again, I think we've taken some fantastic learnings from tonight, and I don't know, and it wasn't something that I did, it was something that I noticed. The group got together in the middle of the park after the game, and that tells me a lot. It reconfirms a lot to me, just how determined this group is. And like I said, I'm glad we're experiencing these things with oppositions right now, because we're going to be much better team for it once finals do roll round.
How have you handled the Premiership Plate discussion, or just the fact that it's hanging over these last couple of rounds with a pretty young group? How have you handled it?
We've just tried to, we just stay focused daily. There's a reason that these players have put themselves in this position and given themselves the opportunity they have, and that's because they've never looked beyond what happens today, what happens tomorrow, all season. So it was just more about making sure that we stick to that, and it is difficult. It is very difficult to sort of keep all the external noise out, and we know how much access everybody has to these players now. So, but again, we had, I'm not going to say a little stumble, but we allowed, ourselves to have a look at that, I think, for a period of time. But right now, everything I see from this group is just sort of full focus on whatever's next, and what's next for us is the Mariners.
Do you let yourselves have a look at Sunday's game? I'm sure you're not expecting the Mariners to do you the world's biggest favour, but if they beat Auckland, it's done before you even play them.
Oh, yeah, but look, like you said, most importantly, our destiny is in our hands. We know that no matter what happens on Sunday, that's not going to change the way that we approach the game next weekend against the Mariners. So, look, obviously these things happen. It's in the competition. These teams play each other. It's another game in the round, and whatever happens there happens. Like I said, it won't change in any way, no matter what the result is. Our approach to this week and our approach to the game next Saturday.
Does it, I guess, being the form team of the combo all year, but just a game like tonight, come down to it, it's a tough place to come, a tough team to play against, and then the way you finished, like to almost pinch it, does that just add to that belief, that the huge belief the team's already got, heading into such a big final series?
Yeah, definitely. But it shows who we are, the character of this team, and what this team represents. The fact that we never take our foot off the throttle. These players, and they're driving that. Yeah, and we're creating opportunities late in that game from our football. I think the last opportunity that we created, there was some fantastic lead-up play, and then the decision for Gibbo to roll in Xavier, that's not just them sort of doing as they're told. That's them representing who we are and what they are. And like I said, that's brave for me, because once it goes to 2-2, I don't think there's too many teams out there that would then go and try to win the game in extra time. So the fact that, and again, that wasn't information coming from me, that was just the DNA of this team now.
And is it just, the one concern that might be for you guys is, I think it's been 5 months since you've gone 3 games without a win. Is that on the eve of the finals? Is that something you just got to sort of fix up a bit, I guess?
Well, it felt like we went about 3.5 years without a draw, so we're just trying to mix it up, mate, keep it fresh, keep everyone on their toes.
And the fact it was a backfire, you seemed a bit surprised. It almost like, do you take it as a compliment in a way, or how do you sort of see it?
Yeah, and it's something that we've spoken about over the last few weeks, because and we wanted to, like I said, we've not avoided the fact that we've been top of the table, but the focus has always been sort of what we're doing. And what we've found over the last few weeks was oppositions were treating us like we're top of the table, so we had to start acting accordingly as well. And that's part of it. Teams are trying to stop us first and foremost, and we had to get an understanding. Like I said, you prepare, you have a look at oppositions, we give them information on how teams play, and then you turn up and it's something totally different. It's very difficult for us to get that information out to them whilst they're playing. We can give little bits and pieces, but they have to take responsibility for it. And these have been the discussions over the last few weeks, even when we do our smaller group meeting. It's them taking responsibility. It's them driving these discussions. It's them driving talking about the solutions within the framework of what we do. And like I said, I think this group still has so much growth, to come, and we'll see that over the next few weeks, and we'll see it moving forward as well. But now the responsibility that they're taking for the football, for me, it's like I said, I think we're in it for right now. We're where we need to be.
How's it for you, Mark? You would have had some very, very special memories here, playing in a Victory team that, as you say, wouldn't be playing back fives, would have been pretty all-conquering, to be honest, here. For you to coach a team, come back here and, you're top of the table, they're playing back fives against you. How's that sort of feeling so many years on?
Yeah, nice. Look, the only thing I think that's probably the same since I was here are the fans, and that's fantastic to see. They have a fantastic following, and like I said, AAMI Park's a difficult place to come. It's always nice to come back, because there's no avoiding it. I feel like I had probably some of the best years, if not the best years of my career here. But again, like I said, the landscape for me, I think, is quite different to what it was when I was here.
Finishing up your away slate for the season now, and you end up having picked up more points on the road than any other side in the competition. What makes the group so good on the road?
It's because they're so young, they don't have to do anything. So we take responsibility for everything. We feed them, they eat when they're told, they sleep when they're told. At home, they've got too many decisions to make.
Have you come out of this one with a clean slate at least, Millsy? No injuries or anything? You can go into the Mariners game fit and firing? Yeah,
look, again, we got some good minutes into Zach, we forced him to play probably a little bit longer than what he should have last week, but it was important. And then again tonight, unfortunate to be missing Will Dobson. He's been such an important part of who we are as a team and a club, but he'll be back bigger and better these coming weeks. So good to get minutes in him at the moment. Touch wood, no sort of reports on anything from the game. Looking forward to this week.
Perfect. Good luck for next week.
Thank you. Cheers.